Marrakesh or Marrakech is a major city of Morocco. It is the fourth largest city in the country, after Casablanca, Rabat and Fez. It is the capital city of the mid-southwestern region of Marrakesh ASFI, located to the north of the foothills of the snow-capped Atlas Mountains. Marrakech is located 580 kilometers southwest of Tangier, 327 kilometers southwest of the Moroccan capital of Rabat, 239 kilometers south of Casablanca, and 246 kilometers northeast of Agadir. Marrakech is possibly the most important of Morocco's four former imperial cities. The region has been inhabited by Berber farmers since Neolithic times, but the actual city was founded in 1062 by Abu Bakr ibn Umar, chieftain and cousin of Almoravid king Yusuf ibn Tashfin. In the 12th century, the Almoravids built many madrasas and mosques in Marrakech that bear Andalusian influences. The Red Walls of the city, built by Ali ibn Yusuf in 1122 to 1123, and various buildings constructed in red sandstone during this period, have given the city the nickname of the Red City, or Ochre City. Marrakech grew rapidly and established itself as a cultural, religious, and trading center for the Maghreb and sub-Saharan Africa. Jamar el-Fnaa is the busiest square in Africa. After a period of decline, the city was surpassed by Fez, but in the early 16th century, Marrakech again became the capital of the kingdom. The city regained its preeminence under wealthy Saadian sultans Abu Abdullah al-Qaim and Ahmad al-Mansur, who embellished the city with sumptuous palaces such as the El-Badi Palace and restored many ruined monuments. Beginning in the 17th century, the city became popular among Sufi pilgrims for Morocco's 7 patron saints, who entombed here. In 1912, the French protectorate in Morocco was established and Hami el-Glouer became Pasha of Marrakech and held this position nearly throughout the duration of the protectorate until the role was dissolved upon independence of Morocco and the re-establishment of the monarchy in 1956. In 2009, Marrakech Mayor Fatima Zahra Mansouri became the second woman to be elected mayor in Morocco. Like many Moroccan cities, Marrakech comprises an old fortified city packed with vendors and their stalls, bordered by modern neighborhoods, the most prominent of which is Galais. Today it is one of the busiest cities in Africa and serves as a major economic center and tourist destination. Tourism is strongly advocated by the reigning Moroccan monarch, Mohammed VI, with the goal of doubling the number of tourists visiting Morocco to 20 million by 2020. Despite the economic recession, real estate and hotel development in Marrakech has grown dramatically in the 21st century. Marrakech is particularly popular with the French, and numerous French celebrities own property in the city. Marrakech has the largest traditional Berber market in Morocco, with some 18 souks selling wares ranging from traditional Berber carpets to modern consumer electronics. Crafts employ a significant percentage of the population, who primarily sell their products to tourists. Marrakech is served by Menara International Airport and the Marrakech railway station, which connects the city to Casablanca in northern Morocco. Marrakech has several universities and schools, including Kader Ayyad University. A number of Moroccan football clubs are located here, including Najm de Marrakech, KAC Marrakech, Moulaudia de Marrakech and Chez Ali Club de Marrakech. The Marrakech Street Circuit hosts the World Touring Car Championship, AutoGP and FIA Formula 2 Championship races. Etymology. The exact meaning of the name is debated. The probable origin of the name Marrakech is from the Berber words Murrākuš, which means land of God. According to historian Susan C. Wright, however, the town's name was first documented in an 11th century manuscript in the Karawayan Library in Fez, where its meaning was given as country of the sons of Cush. The word Mer is used now in Berber mostly in the feminine form Tamurt. The same word, Mer, appears in Mauritania, the North African kingdom from antiquity, although the link remains controversial as this name possibly originates from mu alpha upsilon rho omicron sigma mavros, the ancient Greek word for black. The common English spelling is Marrakesh, although Marrakech is also widely used. The name is spelled ＭRRAKC in the Berber Latin alphabet, məрақ in Spanish, and merakesh in Moroccan Arabic. From medieval times until around the beginning of the 20th century, the entire country of Morocco was known as the Kingdom of Marrakesh, as the kingdom's historic capital city was often Marrakech. The name for Morocco is still Marrakesh to this day in Persian and Urdu as well as many other South Asian languages. Various European names for Morocco are directly derived from the Berber word Murrākuš. Conversely, the city itself was in earlier times simply called Morocco City by travelers from abroad. The name of the city and the country diverged after the Treaty of Fez made Morocco a French and Spanish protectorate. But the old interchangeable usage lasted widely until about the interregnum of Muhammad bin Arafah. The latter episode set in motion the country's return to independence, when Morocco officially became Al-Mamlaka al-Maghribiyya, its name no longer referring to the city of Marrakesh. Marrakech is known by a variety of nicknames, including the Red City, the Ochre City, and the Daughter of the Desert, and has been the focus of poetic analogies such as one comparing the city to a drum that beats an African identity into the complex soul of Morocco. History. The Marrakesh area was inhabited by Berber farmers from Neolithic times, and numerous stone implements have been unearthed in the area. Marrakesh was founded in 1062 by Abu Bakr ibn Umar, chieftain and second cousin of the Almoravid king Yusuf ibn Tashfin. Under the Almoravids, pious and learned warriors from the desert, numerous mosques and madrasas were built, developing the community into a trading center for the Maghreb and sub-Saharan Africa. Marrakech grew rapidly and established itself as a cultural and religious center, supplanting Agmat, which had long been the capital of Haouz. Andalusian craftsmen from Córdoba and Seville built and decorated numerous palaces in the city, developing the Umayyad style characterized by carved domes and cusped arches. This Andalusian influence merged with designs from the Sahara and West Africa, creating a unique style of architecture which was fully adapted to the Marrakech environment. Yusuf ibn Tashfin completed the city's first mosque, built houses, minted coins, and brought gold and silver to the city in caravans. The city became the capital of the Almoravid Emirate, stretching from the shores of Senegal to the center of Spain and from the Atlantic coast to Algiers. Marrakech is one of the great citadels of the Muslim world. The city was fortified by Tashfin's son, Ali ibn Yusuf, who in 1122 to 1123 built the ramparts which remain to this day, completed further mosques and palaces, and developed an underground water system in the city known as the Retirah to irrigate his new garden. In 1125, the preacher Ibn Tumat settled in Tinmal in the mountains to the south of Marrakech. He preached against the Almoravids and influenced a revolt which succeeded in bringing about the fall of nearby Agmat, but stopped short of bringing down Marrakech following an unsuccessful siege in 1130. The Almohads, Masmuda tribesmen from the High Atlas Mountains who practiced Orthodox Islam, took the city in 1147 under leader Abd al-Mumin. After a long siege and the killing of some 7,000 people, the last of the Almoravids were exterminated apart from those who sought exile in the Balearic Islands. As a result, almost all the city's monuments were destroyed. The Almohads constructed a range of palaces and religious buildings, including the famous Koutoubia Mosque, and built upon the ruins of an Almoravid palace. It was a twin of the Giralda in Seville and the unfinished Hassan Tower in Rabat, all built by the same designer. The Kasbah housed the residence of the Caliph, a title borne by the Almohad rulers from the reign of Abd al-Mumin, rivaling the Far East and Abbasid Caliphate. The Kasbah was named after the Caliph Yaqub al-Mansur. The irrigation system was perfected to provide water for new palm groves and parks, including the Menara Garden. As a result of its cultural reputation, Marrakesh attracted many writers and artists, especially from Andalusia, including the famous philosopher Averroes of Córdoba. The death of Yusuf II in 1224 began a period of instability. Marrakesh became the stronghold of the Almohad tribal sheikhs and the Ahl Abdar, who sought to claw power back from the ruling Almohad family. Marrakesh was taken, lost and retaken by force multiple times by a stream of caliphs and pretenders, such as during the brutal seizure of Marrakesh by the Sevillian Caliph Abd al-Wahid II al-Ma'mun in 1226. Which was followed by a massacre of the Almohad tribal sheikhs and their families and a public denunciation of Ibn Tumart's doctrines by the caliph, from the pulpit of the Kasbah Mosque. After al-Ma'mun's death in 1232, his widow attempted to forcibly install her son, acquiring the support of the Almohad army chiefs and Spanish mercenaries with the promise to hand Marrakesh over to them for the sack. Hearing of the terms, the people of Marrakesh sought to make an agreement with the military captains and saved the city from destruction with a sizable payoff of 500,000 dinars. In 1269, Marrakesh was conquered by nomadic Zenata tribes who overran the last of the Almohads. The city then fell into a state of decline, which soon led to the loss of its status as capital to rival city Fez. In the early 16th century, Marrakesh again became the capital of the kingdom, after a period when it was the seat of the Hintata emirs. It quickly re-established its status, especially during the reigns of the Saadian sultans Abu Abdullah al-Qaim and Ahmad al-Mansur. Thanks to the wealth amassed by the sultans, Marrakesh was embellished with sumptuous palaces while its ruined monuments were restored. El Badi Palace, built by Ahmad al-Mansur in 1578, was a replica of the Alhambra Palace, made with costly and rare materials including marble from Italy, gold dust from Sudan, porphyry from India and jade from China. The palace was intended primarily for hosting lavish receptions for ambassadors from Spain, England and the Ottoman Empire, showcasing Saudi and Morocco as a nation whose power and influence reached as far as the borders of Niger and Mali. Under the Saadian dynasty, Marrakesh regained its former position as a point of contact for caravan routes from the Maghreb, the Mediterranean and sub-Saharan Africa. For centuries Marrakesh has been known as the location of the tombs of Morocco's 7 patron saints. When Sufism was at the height of its popularity during the late 17th century reign of Mawli Ismail, the festival of these saints was founded by Abu Ali al-Hasan al-Yusi at the request of the Sultan. The tombs of several renowned figures were moved to Marrakesh to attract pilgrims, and the pilgrimage associated with the 7 saints is now a firmly established institution. Pilgrims visit the tombs of the saints in a specific order, as follows. Sidi Yusuf Ali Sangaji, Ilepa, Qadi Iyad or Qadi of Quetta, a theologian and author of Ash-Shifa. Sidi Bel Abbas, known as the patron saint of the city and most revered in the region. Sidi Muhammad al-Jazuli, a well-known Sufi who founded the Jazuli Brotherhood. Abdulaziz al-Tabar, a student of Jazuli. Abdullah al-Ghazwani, known as Mawla, and Sidi Abu al-Kashim al-Suhaili, also known as Imam al-Suyani. Until 1867, European Christians were not authorized to enter the city unless they acquired special permission from the Sultan. East European Jews were permitted. During the early 20th century, Marrakesh underwent several years of unrest, After the premature death in 1900 of the Grand Vizier Bar Ahmed, who had been designated regent until the designated Sultan Abdulaziz became of age, the country was plagued by anarchy, tribal revolts, the plotting of feudal lords, and European intrigues. In 1907, Marrakesh Caliph Moli Abd al-Hafid was proclaimed sultan by the powerful tribes of the High Atlas and by ulama scholars who denied the legitimacy of his brother, Abdulaziz. It was also in 1907 that Dr. Mochamp, a French doctor, was murdered in Marrakesh, suspected of spying for his country. France used the event as a pretext for sending its troops from the eastern Moroccan town of Oujda to the major metropolitan center of Casablanca in the west. The French colonial army encountered strong resistance from Ahmed al-Hiba, a son of Sheikh al-Ainain, who arrived from the Sahara accompanied by his nomadic Regubat tribal warriors. On 30 March 1912, the French protectorate in Morocco was established. After the Battle of Sidi Bou Othman, which saw the victory of the French Mangan column over the al-Hiba forces in September 1912, the French seized Marrakesh. The conquest was facilitated by the rallying of the Mzwan tribes and their leaders from the powerful Glouer family, leading to a massacre of Marrakesh citizens in the resulting turmoil. Hami el-Glouer, known as Lord of the Atlas, became Pasha of Marrakesh, a post he held virtually throughout the 44-year duration of the protectorate. Glouer dominated the city and became famous for his collaboration with the general residence authorities, culminating in a plot to dethrone Mohammed ben Youssef and replace him with the Sultan's cousin, Ben Arifah. Glouer, already known for his amorous adventures and lavish lifestyle, became a symbol of Morocco's colonial order. He could not, however, subdue the rise of nationalist sentiment, nor the hostility of a growing proportion of the inhabitants. Nor could he resist pressure from France, who agreed to terminate its Moroccan protectorate in 1956 due to the launch of the Algerian War immediately following the end of the war in Indochina, in which Moroccans had been conscripted to fight in Vietnam on behalf of the French army. After two successive exiles to Corsica and Madagascar, Mohammed ben Youssef was allowed to return to Morocco in November 1955, bringing an end to the despotic rule of Glouer over Marrakesh and the surrounding region. A protocol giving independence to Morocco was then signed on 2 March 1956 between French Foreign Minister Christian Pinault and Mbarik Ben Bakay. Since the independence of Morocco, Marrakesh has thrived as a tourist destination. In the 1960s and early 1970s, the city became a trendy, hippie mecca. It attracted numerous Western rock stars and musicians, artists, film directors and actors, models, and fashion divas, leading tourism revenues to double in Morocco between 1965 and 1970. Yves Saint Laurent, the Beatles, the Rolling Stones and Jean-Paul Getty all spent significant time in the city. Laurent bought a property here and renovated the Majorelle Gardens. Expatriates, especially those from France, have invested heavily in Marrakesh since the 1960s, and developed many of the riads and palaces. Old buildings were renovated in the Old Medina, new residences and commuter villages were built in the suburbs, and new hotels began to spring up. United Nations agencies became active in Marrakesh beginning in the 1970s, and the city's international political presence has subsequently grown. In 1985, UNESCO declared the Old Town area of Marrakesh a UNESCO World Heritage Site, raising international awareness of the cultural heritage of the city. In the 1980s, Patrick Durand Hermes purchased the 30-acre Ain El Quasimoor, built by the family of Leo Tolstoy. The property is now part of Polo Club de la Palmerie. On 15 April 1994, the Marrakesh Agreement was signed here to establish the World Trade Organization, and in March 1997 Marrakech served as the site of the World Water Council's first World Water Forum, which was attended by over 500 international participants. In the 21st century, property and real estate development in the city has boomed, with a dramatic increase in new hotels and shopping centers, fueled by the policies of Mohammed VI of Morocco, who aims to increase the number of tourists annually visiting Morocco to 20 million by 2020. In 2010, a major gas explosion occurred in the city. On 28 April 2011, a bomb attack took place in the Jamar el-Fnaa square, killing 15 people, mainly foreigners. The blast destroyed the nearby Organa Cafe. Police sources arrested 3 suspects and claimed the chief suspect was loyal to Al-Qaeda, although Al-Qaeda in the Islamic Maghreb denied involvement.